obviously, I come from a research background, and I'm always encouraging research. That's my job. But I do think out of those three, service, research, and teaching, we need to focus on research. Not because I'm biased about the others. The others are vital. But research often takes the back burner, is put on the back burner. It's often the most, I like to use the word mercurial. You know, mercury, you know, when you've got a bubble of mercury on the table and you put your finger on it and it bursts into little balls like that, it's hard to pin it down. That's what research is like. You know, when you get to teach one day, you can't say, oh, I got a headache, come back in half an hour's time to your class of 400 students. I mean, you just can't. You've got to be there. You've got to do the work. They've got to hand in their assessments. You've got to mark them. It's all disciplined and regular, and it happens. Okay. Now, it's scheduled. Research often isn't. So when you're trying to balance these three things, research often gets put on the back burner. And so you've got to be very careful that it doesn't get overwhelmed by these things. And it gets on the back burner because often there's no structure, there are no external deadlines unless you get funding. And it's often very personal. So, you know, you can do it all by yourself. So, you know, that's also nobody encouraging you to get it done. Would you agree that the more experienced people, yeah, it can often take the back seat. Of course, my colleague Christine Woods at CLTD, who's all about developing teaching skills and whatnot, we always arm wrestle about that. She would say it's the other way around, but yeah. So also your plan should set you free. It shouldn't make, you know, last minute rushes and whatnot. It shouldn't be a burden, so it should really help you. So try and develop a plan. And how long is this plan? So again, think of Gantt charts, but about your life, your career. And I'm talking about a 5 to a 7 year plan. That's the type of plan. Now, a useful exercise that I want you to do for me now. I'm going to switch that off. I want you to get a piece of paper, and this is by yourself. I mean, you're welcome to share it if you want. But I want you to draw a graph, you know, a graph, X and a Y axis. Make the Y axis, what's this one? The X axis quite long, okay? If you want to do it in landscape, do it that way. Now, and then I want you to think on the Y-axis is activity in your life, or maybe success or achievement in your life. And I want you to think back almost as far as you can remember and think about things that have happened in your life and plot whether you were top of the world or you went through a bit of a trough there, or you know, something went right and then something went wrong, or not necessarily right or wrong, just activity in your life. You know, something was really going well. You know, I'm thinking of postdoc, 1 year postdoc, it's very short. What happens after that? Unsure. Maybe for a year you have nothing. What happens in that year? You know, will you plot that for me? Does that make sense, more or less? So that's the y-axis. That's the one. So yeah, and the x-axis is time. Sorry, I forgot to say that. This is time. So, you know, go back. When were you born, more or less? Okay, you can't remember quite far that back. But can you remember, you know, like you were in primary school for 7 years. Okay? And then what happened? You were in high school, maybe you were in high school for 10 years. No, 5 years. Eh? And then you were an undergrad for 12 years. No, 3 years. And you know what I mean? Sort of, yeah? Or major changes in your life. Plot them, maybe just with crosses. Yes? I went from school to undergrad. That was I lived in Benoni and I had to catch the train, and it was really challenging for me. So undergrad was difficult. I got married in 1987. I got my PhD a year after that. I've got...
We're going to send that to your wife.
I had a very negative experience in my life in the early 80s. I'm a white male South African. What does that mean? I had to go and do army work. Okay, I could have chose not to, but I would have had to go to jail. But it was really negative experience for me. So it's right off the bottom of the graph. Okay? All right. So you do that for me. How far are between the gaps, or between the events? How far, more or less, between the events? Anybody want to volunteer? Every 5 to 7 years, something changes in my life. Not always, but that's more or less. Looking at yours, would you agree? Or is your life really turmoil and every year something happens? Yes.